Today, we're going to talk about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the campaign. I have gone through it. Court has questions for me. We're going to talk about it spoiler-free, give you everything you need to know about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Let's go. Court, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Xbox. Hey, I'm Matt, and that's Court. And Court, how you doing, buddy?
So you played Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I have not, because I am playing an embargo game right now. But I have many questions because I'm seeing tons of positive about this game. I've actually seen some terrible screenshots of the game. I guess it's got some broken parts. But you know what? At this point, I don't think there's any game that launches right now, unless you want to tell me in the comments that it isn't broken in some way, shape, or form when they release. My biggest question to you is this next gen? Right off the bat, I want to know, is this game next gen?
I guess it'd be how do we define next gen? But I will say I'm playing on my LG OLED. I've got the Xbox Series X. I'm getting 120 hertz, brother, and it looks pretty.
120 frames per second, and now are you getting 4K at 120? Because I know on the previous Call of Duty, it was you had to select, right? You
30. No, I haven't changed. There's no setting changes. I booted it up, 38, 40, and 120 hertz, and it's got super great detail. Now it's on the OLED, so the blacks are black. The reflections are amazing. The audio is good. I'm using the surround sound. I've also used my headset too to get full 3D audio. So I tried both. Sounds great. Looks great. It blew me away. I had skipped Call of Duty for a few years because it's like Vanguard I didn't touch. And the one prior to that I might have, but I don't remember finishing the campaign. So it's been a minute. And going through the campaign only, I am in the final chapter as of recording this. And I have loved it to the point where I'm like, I've taken multiple days to do it. And if I had the time, I probably would have just sat there and played the whole thing. My overall thoughts out of the gate is that this is one of my favorite campaigns from Call of Duty, regardless of it being on the Modern Warfare side or like the other, like where they've gone super hyper realistic in space, advanced warfare, all that junk. But this one is my favorite in the last decade, for me personally.
And so when you're playing with all those nice bells and whistles, how's the responsiveness?
Good.
Like, how is it? Do you feel is it easier for you with the 120 frames? Do you feel like you're better at the game?
Because I had come from years of not having that. Obviously, this is my first Call of Duty with that setup, and it's instantaneous. Triggers, shooting, moving around. It is smooth. It is completely smooth. The blur on it bothers me a little bit. I can turn that off. But that, because it goes right in frame if you're looking at a character. Everything else has got the nice bokeh effect and blur, but on that side screen it kind of messes up. Response time's great. Shooting's great. It's Call of Duty. What they've done in this one that I really appreciate is I feel more connected to the characters that they have brought out, because they've brought in some new ones, and they brought in some ones from previous games that you would recognize. And it's, aside from the story they're telling, which is you strip it all down, it's a tried and true Call of Duty brother story. Gotta go and get the bad guy. But it has the big set pieces. It's not too overdone. It feels more grounded. There are great sequences throughout the game that get you edge of your seat, not know what's going to happen when you open the door, some stuff that's scary, and that has you kind of edge of your seat too, of like, is this going to go south? And there's humor in it too, because of the relationships between the characters, and they show that off more. And that is always missed for me in Call of Duty games, where I've just felt like I'm going A to B to C, and I don't give a crap about the dialogue. It's just going to set pieces. That's how I felt in years past with the campaign piece.
So that was my next question I was getting into is the story bringing you in? Do you feel like, one of the things I used to love about Call of Duty back in the day, it was almost like you play the campaign, I'm like, I feel like I'm playing a movie. Have they gotten back to that root of the campaign where the campaign is that strong?
Yeah, there are sequences in the game where I'm like, this is very gamey. There is in large part, the answer is yes. I think that it's very cinematic. The cinematic scenes, the cutscenes in them are some of my favorite. They bring in a lot more emotional. The performances are very well done in this, where I am watching the cutscenes and not going to my phone to just wait to get through it or skip it. It all matters, and I'm trying to learn and figure out what's going to happen next. So I like it from even just the storytelling, and it does grab you in. There are moments when you're playing the game, and there's certain sequences, one where you are out on the highway and you have to do a sequence of like it's long and you're going from like one truck to the other, like literally like trying to take down the enemy. And you go from like your car and then you gotta like get out of it and then go to the next one and lean out and shoot and try to take down the enemies. So that sequence, that level, on its own was, I hated it. It took forever. I died a bunch. It kept going and going and going. There's some mistakes in there, but overall it was good.
Now, with regards to Activision's approach of releasing the campaign before the multiplayer, do you feel, as someone that's now got to play it, were you always playing the campaign in the past, or were you only a multiplayer person, or do you think this was a smart to actually get people that only played the campaign to probably want to play the multiplayer now?
Yes, I agree with the last point there. I think it's a better move because in years past I would always play the campaign unless I got into it and I was like, ugh, this is boring or not for me. I always started off in the last several years of just going right into multiplayer and doing that and then eventually getting into the campaign. I think this was a much smarter move. Having it a week early, you get the early access, you have a ton of hype around it. They've also done a good job with the campaign, which helps a lot because people are hearing, at least what I see on Twitter, my feed and everything, is just that it's fun, it's great, get your hands on it, people are enjoying it. If it was a crap campaign, it'd be a different story. But because they did a good job with this, I think it's smart to splice them up, give it a week early, gives players that 5 days. People will finish it in a day, but the average player, they got a week to finish this thing, and then boom, they get into the multiplayer. So if you're having fun like me with the single player campaign experience, I'm about to finish it, and then I'm like, great, now the multiplayer is about to drop, and now I can get in there and do a bunch of stuff. So I really like that they went with this approach. I think it was smart.
Awesome. All right. Well, you heard it here. I'm pretty sure Matt's just saying, go get Call of Duty right now and go play the campaign because it's actually good.
Bang, bang,
It's
go.
actually something you'll want to go out and play because this day and age, we're getting a lot of games, that are dropping right now that we're just like, yikes. But this one looks awesome. The reviews are looking great and it's all positive out there. So I'm Court from Xbox A. This is Matt, and we're saying go buy Call of Duty.